In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, that voice which calls to me and speaks my name.
Greetings, loved ones. Let's talk about salvation, but not the salvation that everyone else is looking outward to find. The salvation where people are expecting government to come and save them, or some money to come in, a job even to save them, or ability to find something outside of yourself. We've been taught since children to look and expect help and salvation from our parents, and it's always looking without. But I would like to suggest today we need to look within. It's Christ within, the hope of glory. We can open our minds to spiritual matters and set aside the fears. You see, it was through suffering that Christ learned discipline. And that word suffering can also mean passion. And discipline doesn't mean like obedience that the world would beat into us, where they're going to steal money from us or stick us in a cage or kill us if we don't pay some money to somebody because we parked in the wrong spot. No, we're talking about discipline in a context of, let's just call it divine guidance, learning to follow our divine inspiration, our inklings, our intuitions from within that come with a good emotion and lead us to good things and good places. That's what we're talking about. And I'm going to suggest that we are completely sufficient within just ourselves, and that we don't have to look without. First of all, health is the true wealth. If we're not healthy in our bodies and our minds, we can't really function and see clearly in the world around us. So there's people like Joe Dispenza who, through a form of meditation and even a divine inspiration, some people would call it an enlightenment, very similar to what some people describe when they have a spiritual, life-changing experience with plant or fungal medicine from the earth. He's able to do that through a series of breaths and body movements and holds and intention and focus and direction. And he had gotten hit by a vehicle while being flagged on in a cross-country race and broke every bone in his spine. And rather than opt for surgery, he knew that there was a divine intelligence within, and he began to speak to that and put things back in order. And he completely healed and became completely mobile again without any surgeries or interventions from without. And other people have been cured within 7 days of beginning these meditative practices to release, to have tumors completely go away, to have lupus completely go away, to have Parkinson completely go away. These are impossible solutions from what is offered without, but they came from within.
We have people that understand that if you can begin to change the patterns in the field, you can change matter. It's not matter that emits the field. It's the field that creates matter. If you change the field, you change matter. You don't change the tumor, you change the pattern in the field, and the hologram of the tumor changes. So we go an extensive understanding on this. And now we're doing these coherence healings, and we're seeing people have instantaneous changes in their health. I mean, instantaneous. And so now this group of people say, well, God, if I'm truly in the quantum field, there's no separation.
And that's just one example of a self-sufficiency. Another one, just because I like the music and the emotion that comes with it, is beatboxing. People who can completely recreate a band from within their vocal cords. They don't need instrumentation. They don't need special training. They're able to mimic any sound and create emotion-lifting music, soul-lifting music. And it's really a beautiful, amazing thing.
Hello guys, my name is Dharni. Now what you gotta do is to just adjust the voice and the shape of your mouth until you get a human saxophone sound. For example, we go. And once you're able to do the saxophone, you can put it on the beat like
And these are just two of an almost limitless number of examples out there. As a third example of self-sufficiency, how about Rob Greenfield?
For 1 year, I only ate foods that I grew and foraged. 1 year without grocery stores or restaurants, nothing packaged or processed, nothing shipped long distances. Literally everything that I ate for the entire year came from my garden or that I harvested from nature.
And we're also, along with many other people, showing how to build your own houses, to build your own lives, and to build your own businesses so that you don't have to work. You know, the whole universe is mind, and if we learn to meditate with that, we can tap into all that is, and we can access all knowledge that is. We can gain insights and information through remote viewing. We can just simply have divine downloads when we get our brains in the right quiet state and allow that to happen. So we don't have to go to libraries and extra people or even YouTube videos to be able to find divine knowledge and information that makes our mind give us a vision, to form a vision to bring forth energy and emotion and take action on and have a manifestation of creation of what was in the divine to manifest in a physical form. So all of that's possible within. And I know that this past year has been really ugly for a lot of people. They've been threatening to jab people and forcefully modify them if you don't submit to that to maintain your job. And so many people have walked off their jobs. People have been fired. And the worst thing of all, through all of this COVID-19 pandemic, is the fact that it's been endless fear, threat, fear, threat, fear, threat. And yeah, okay. Piss on all that. Let's move on. We know for time eternal, as far back as we can remember, while the Lord of hosts has been conducting wars, famine, and pestilence, reducing human populations and controlling people. We know this. So let's just move on. Again, take all that stuff outside and leave it outside and bring forth the answer from within, because it's there, loved ones. It's something that I wish everyone to experience. So we need to realize that as a source of self-sufficiency, we can be perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. Christ prayed that we would be one with Him in the same way that He is one with the Father. And yet He was known before the foundation of the earth. So what are we worried about with our lives? We pre-existed this, and we will still exist after this. So there's no reason to live in fear. Fear shuts us down. Fear puts us in a place where we can't conceive of greater possibilities, because our minds and our hearts will only receive and perceive the information that is of a similar vibration to the vibration we're in. And when we allow fear to affect us and lack and want, then we can't even perceive the answers when they're right in front of our face. You see, one example I can think of is a lady showing some pictures from Africa. You have all these kids with nutrient deficiencies and big bellies, and their bones, every rib showing, and in every part of their body, they look so malnourished. And yet, you know, they're out there waiting for the white man to come hand them a bowl of rice. So they've been enslaved to submission to the white man to get some food to eat. And yet this lady points out in the background of these photos was over 13 edible plants, and they were everywhere. So these precious souls were nearly perishing and enslaving themselves when all that they need was around them. And that's what I really want to suggest to you for your consideration, is that all that you need is already within your life. You came into this life, and there is divine, universal provision here for you. The problem is we're looking without to other people's provisions, but already within our experience is the inklings, the experience, and the people are within our experiential field of life around us. Everything that we have to grow and follow our divine passion, not suffering, but that divine guidance, that not submission to discipline, but the discipline to self-discipline ourselves and follow that divine spark into beauty and light and love and life and gratitude and passion, and all of this good and greatness that can be here in this existence. And if we start following that path, it will move us into something far greater and away from fear, away from all of the lack and want and worries of the world, and to a place of perfection within that allows us to build our beautiful lives. And that's what I want for all of you. You know, this past year we have moved out of the city. We have moved off-grid into the middle of nowhere with beautiful, beautiful, soul-elevating scenery. And we have had a beautiful life with precious, wonderful souls coming to share with us at our workshops. It has been the best of years in the worst of years. And we have lacked and wanted for nothing. And I don't have any reason to return to all that other than to come and offer solutions, to point within, because your answers lie within you. It's not about praying to the heavens and then imagining that somehow, some magical way, you're not sure, but you know that prayer had to have been answered even though you don't really see it, or sometimes things work out anyway, and that's great. But we can turn within, and we can have an answer to every prayer consistently, every time we ask, within minutes. So prayer, meditation, you'll go into your prayer closet. I believe in the Aramaic, that was a term that basically was well known to mean the same thing as meditation. What is meditation? It's not all the stuff you may have associating hooked to that. It's knowing yourself. It's learning to separate from your mind and step back and be the observer, the half step back before the spirit, where you actually reside. So to the mind is where a part of our physical body is serving us. It's recognizing patterns. It's following the program that you have set for yourself through childhood and agreements you've made with self and with others, the words that you are saying to yourself, and every negative thing. You're writing a program, and your ego and your brain is serving you. It's showing you the vibration and the patterns that you're running at, and you can choose to change that. And then you can see a world of beauty instead of ugliness and lack and want. Instead, you can have abundance. You can have endless possibilities and an ever-renewed journey that never gets old, never gets bored, and is never repetitive like jobs are. So just think about this, loved ones, that within us is fullness of self-sufficiency. It really is. But it's also about oneness with our spiritual being in who we are, oneness with the Creator and the universe, oneness with this earth. We're down here, spirit and flesh entwined. You can't separate it, and you can't say that the physical actions and thoughts aren't also spiritual, because they are. We've got to realize that we are one with all, and that all serves our one highest good. And if maybe things aren't working out, those pains, those sufferings, those turmoils, those struggles that are telling us, I do not want this ugly thing in my life anymore. I do not want to be controlled. I want freedom. That, loved ones, is the pain that is pushing you to turn. The Bible uses the word repent, and all it means is to turn and go the other way. And that's it. The actions you're taking in life. You're struggling to keep a job. You're struggling to have what you need. You're struggling to want to fulfill a dream that you have, maybe to live off-grid or to live on a homestead, to be free, to travel, to do whatever it is that's in your heart. And all you have to do is turn and start taking those steps and moving in that direction. And when you do that path, you may not be able to see anything but a mountain and an obstacle, but as you walk that path, the mountains will split open and the seas will part, and your path will be made straight and clear. You just have to start walking it. So, You enjoy the rest of your year. I know a lot of you are recognizing Christmas and Hanukkah, but move away from religion, move and follow truth. We all know that we have a discernment for what is true, but it may require that we separate ourselves from the world. You know, it wasn't uncommon for prophets to physically remove themselves from the world, to go into the wilderness, the desert. And that means away from other people. Come out of Babylon, my people. No longer be destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Connect to that inner knowledge and know truth and know love and know abundance and know a flow of all good things in your life. And that separation from the world in our day, you know, because we can be in the middle of the desert and still pick up our phones and access a world of fear and hurt and threats and quote, responsibilities. Well, I'm going to suggest to change your life, the number one thing you can do is practice media distancing. The very word media tells us what they're up to. They may spell it differently, but the goddess, M-E-D-E-A, she came to make her name known as the very definition of contriving, manufacturing circumstances, manipulating others, and she killed her own children over it. So, pick up a little etymology, start understanding the words and the symbolisms and everything that's being communicated to us, because it's all right there in front of you. Your subconscious perceives it, but you're telling your mind to run a program. So, learn to see truth, seek light and love and joy. Find things to be grateful for 20 minutes every day while focused on your heart, and it will change your life. In 90 days of being distant and separated from the media, you will begin to sense your path. And you're going to have to trust it. If you can't trust yourself, then there is certainly nothing outside of yourself that you can trust. And I think that the pain and the suffering has been moving you to follow that discipline, to not be disciplined, but to develop the self-discipline and desire to follow the leading of your heart, the leading of the Spirit. And it leads to nothing but good. And it will probably require that you give up people, toxic circumstances. You maybe even give up your physical earthly family. But what you give up here on earth, you will gain 100 times as many. In these workshops that we're teaching people to build AirCrete houses out here so that they can get unplugged from jobs and off-grid and out of the trash. The people who have come have become my family. You know, my immediate family, they've got their limitations. They are serving and walking in Babylon. And yes, I lose family. I lost the friends. And now I have a greater, newer family who is completely sincere and wonderful, loving people. And I have new friends, you know. So family is not just blood. In fact, true family is spiritual family. So find your tribe, if you will. Find your people. Be connected to good things. Only let your mind dwell upon that which is holy and good and true and beautiful. Hold on to these things and follow a path of beauty. And you'll walk right out of the ugliness and the dead cities, and you'll walk into life. You will live and live life abundantly. So, bless you. Namaste. Have a great day.
Sleep is kind to me. In dreams he came. That voice which calls to me and speaks in